So on FS1, The Herd, Eric Mangini, former Browns coach, had this to say about something you have to guard against if you're the Cleveland Browns.
I love the first game of the season, especially after the disaster last year, the first game of the season. And things have changed so dramatically. Last year, no OTAs, no preseason games, first year head coach open up with the Ravens. Now all that's changed, and they get to take their temperature against Kansas City in week one. But just like we talked about with Tampa, Colin, the expectations can really put a significant amount of pressure on a team. And the last time the Browns had to deal with any type of expectations, it killed them. It hurt Baker. Every loss was like the end of the world, and it ended poorly. So how they're going to deal with now being a successful team and dealing with a quarterback who's emerging, the staff has been together. There's a lot expected from these guys, and if it goes south a little bit early, how are they going to deal with that adversity? That, to me, is the challenge Cleveland faces.
And Mac Robinson, what I would say is we saw that in the first game last year with Kevin Stefanski, and they handled it just fine, which gives you a little bit of confidence that that won't be the case.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that, it kind of makes me scratch my head a little bit, just because, he talks about being an emerging team and emerging quarterback and, dealing with some of these losses. Baker's kind of learned from that already, I feel, because obviously in that only year with Freddie Kitchens, you had that, and basically you had the expectations. But last year, it's not like those expectations necessarily went away. You were expected to be a 8 to 9 win team last year. It's not like the pressure was mounting and everything like that. So I kind of disagree with him to an extent. But I do think that, getting Kansas City in week one it's a challenge. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that, it's one that is beneficial for the Browns. I do think that, if they're going to come out of the offseason, again, we talked about it last year where, the Ravens were that week one opponent. They were that team that you're going to have to face twice a year. And, I look at Kansas City, and that's the barometer that I want. That's the barometer that I want to see. Where is this team at? Where is this team at from week one with a full offseason? Team is able to get together. Let's go ahead and see where they're at, run it up against the AFC champions, and let's go ahead and see how they go. And I do think that, their schedule also following that, you have the Texans, you have the Bears, among others. I think that it behooves them to have some of those opponents who might not necessarily be as challenging, I'll put it nicely, as challenging to start the season following Kansas City. I think it behooves the Browns to have that Kansas City opponent.